So in Father Hawker's life, there's a few people that I want to honor in a special manner because of their serious help to him. And I know that many of you were involved in his lives and you appreciated him, and as he sacrificed for you many of you were benefited from Father's priesthood. Well, I want to acknowledge all of you who helped him, especially in the last. Thank you very much. No, that's.
It's not too loud.
Can I have it turned down a little bit? If I put it on my chin. That's why I'm holding it out. So I want to acknowledge a few of you who were very instrumental in helping him get to the doctor, daily back and forth to the Mass, etc. And I know a person that really helped him in his first years here in Arcadia. And I would like to acknowledge this person, a priest, Father Ward. Thank you very much for having me. So these little Our Lady of Sorrows pietas are on the corner of the coffin. They're able to be removed. And I had chosen that coffin for this very reason, that we could pass on these little statues. So thank you, Father Ward. Happy to do it. I also want to acknowledge two persons that were very instrumental in helping him to get to and from, and I think they sacrificed a lot of themselves. The first is Jesus Anguiano. Are you here, Jesus?
He's not here. He's not here.
Okay, then one of you girls can take his gift.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Jesus did a lot of driving for Father over the years. The other man who is very important, often very modest, and we don't see a lot of him at these type of gatherings because he's a modest, generous fellow, Paul Ramos. Paul Ramos. Oh, there you go. Come on up to receive his gift. Paul spent lots of hours driving Father to and from the hospital, or the doctor's office, or the shops. Thank you, Esther. The other gift goes to Barbara Tillman, our cook. You gotta pay the cook. You gotta look after the cook. She has been our cook for many years. She's a good friend of Father Hawker. So I'll give that to her later. She's not here at the moment. The other gift of the statue, there's two left, goes to David Cardinale. David Cardinale is a good friend. And he's, I don't know, I saw him earlier at the cemetery, so I'll send it to him also. But he not only received spiritual direction from Father, but he was very instrumental in looking after the good of Father. Sometimes when he come visit, he say, oh, you need to do this for Father Hawker, this and this. So I appreciate his communication, friendship with Father over the years. And although I'd like to give a gift to everyone who's helped Father, the last gift goes to Vince the Artolan family. And I have one left. What's that? Oh, that goes to David, right? So put it right here next to Barbara's, and I'll be sending those off. And then the crucifix that was on top of the casket, that was in the priory, and and it will go in one of the new rooms, because we're trying to remodel it a little bit to make room for priests. So I'll put that on the wall. Thank you very much. And if there's any other priests who would like to say a few words, you may do so. Lots of Father Hawker anecdotes, some of which only belong in the priory. Father Staffy knows about that. You know Father Staffy? Oh, it's Father Staffy here. He was a prior. He was a prior after Father Cooper before. And although it was a short stay, I think he was really appreciated by Father Hawker. And he would say, "Oh man," and they would talk really sharp. So, a couple things I want to say. I'll hand the microphone to Father Harbour to hold for me, but I have to pull up a couple things that came from some superiors. Emails. Sorry, I meant to pull this up earlier. But I sent a email to a few of the superiors to let them know who knew him. Father LaRue and Father Wagner. And you can see it's not just us and Our Lady of the Angels that appreciated him, but also other priest friends and superiors. Father Wagner says, "Thanks a lot for the information. Father Hawker meant a lot to me. He was an example of steady work and regularity, as Father Ward says, a machine. He always seemed to be happy, even though he was suffering from different health issues. Very good companion to the young priests, and I would have liked to have him with me wherever I was." And then he would offer a master. So we thank Father Wagner for those nice words. I got one more. I think from Father LaRue. No, actually from Father Kruger. Father Nicholas Kruger. He was the first assistant. He was the first assistant for many years, so a few years, and he was here. Came through Arcadia not long before he left his position. And you'll see what he says in his letter. He says, "Yes, I still remember very well my last visit to Arcadia and how we encouraged Father Hawker to enter in the society. Thank you for sending this message to me personally. There was always nice moments and good conversations when we met." He says, "Kind regards from Switzerland. I am now back at the bottom." That's a good more time to pray and listen to people's concerns. So anyway, he says he was encouraged to come. He really liked coming, just like Father Wagner. And then I'll pull up the one from Father LaRue. He was trying to come, actually. Father LaRue thought he would have come. He was really trying to, but as Superior of the District of Canada, the District Superior of Canada, he couldn't come and arrange his visits and a trip down here, so he had to let go of that in prudence. He said, "I'm very touched that you have this kind of delicacy to let him know and assure him," Father Hawker at that time, "of our special prayers for him. He is such a beautiful soul. Please let me know how things are going." That's right before he died. And after he died, he said he would like to come to the burial, which I told you he could not. But that's very encouraging, that word. Assure him of our special prayers to him, for him. He is such a beautiful soul. Let me see if I have anything else. So that's Father Fluger, Father Wegner, and Father LaRue. I think that's all I had from superiors at the moment that are overseas. Oh, actually, Father Couture. Just a moment. I'm sorry. Okay. And I know I let him know, but I thought he'd respond. Just a moment. I got another longer email about another concern I had to check on, and he just mentioned that he'd be saying mass. That I know. So do know that these superiors, all wishing well to all of us here, they will say a mass for him. And I mentioned to you the 30-day mass is being said by the priest of the priory, so that's great encouragement too for the salvation of the soul. Any other priests who would like to say something while we have the microphone live?
Ceremonies went very well. We're very grateful for Mother Burka to manage this whole thing. So it's great to be here. Very happy to come. I spoke to Father Harker on February the 2nd and on the phone. Vince, I told him it was good enough to put that phone next to his ear, so we were talking. And as usual, Father Harker was concerned about vocations. I said, this is February the 2nd, purifications. Oh yes, Simon LaRona. Yeah, did he get the casket today? And I said, no, he got that last year, but he was tonsure. So his mind immediately, I told him the date. You know, Father Harker is very serious about dates. And also, for those who really know him, he's always checking the time. And so, he was suffering, no doubt about it. He died on the 4th. I was talking to him on the 2nd. And so he was definitely suffering. The sacrifices that Father Harker made, often, I'm sure, were for the parish. For souls, those he dealt with. And so he did suffer a lot. Father mentioned that during the eulogy Mass. And so great sufferings, and that's a part of the life of Father Harker. So actually, I know Father Harker fairly well. I think I was with him more than any of us priests here. I was with him for 12 years, 13 years actually. And so we actually were born on the same street in Chicago. So the streets in Chicago are very long. And giving the microphone to Father Ward could be very long also. So, yeah, we grew up on Damon Avenue, which is named after a priest, actually, Father Damon. And so, but he was about 40 blocks north of me, 40 blocks north, so Damon's a long street.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he grew up then as a good young Catholic boy, serving Mass, good young Catholic to love the faith, and indeed, yes, he went through Quigley South, which was a high school seminary. Then he went to Niles College, which was the college for the seminary in Chicago. There he learned his Latin and his Greek. So he was quite studious, very serious about his studies, his history. knew it well. It's probably how he developed his great mind. And so then he ended up in Mundelein, which is the major seminary of Chicago. And so those were rough years. Wow. Glad I came later. But they were really tough because that's when Monsignor Donahue was here. He was trying to fight the battle, trying to discover what to do with his vocation, what to do with the church, what he should do. And I'm sure some of you remember the Dawns. Mr. and Mrs. Dawn were instrumental in setting up Monsignor Donahue here. Actually, their home first. Then it was a hotel. Then it was here on this property, a different building, and church that they knocked down, and they built this one. So, very turbulent times, very difficult. It was for young priests, old priests, everyone. It was brutal from, as Father said, 1966, where he was entering the seminaries and such. And so, finally, going through, he told me some of the nightmares that went on in college, some of the nightmares that went on in Mundelein, which I was there for a short time. Never accepted as a seminarian. They thought I was too rigid. Anyway, Father Hawker, yes, what a trooper. Getting through those times was just unbearable. To know where to go, where this is going, where the Novus Ordo and where they're heading. It was almost unknown to these young priests, these young clerics, to say, what is the destiny of the church? What's happening? And so, but he persevered through. That's what we've seen for the Hawker, is his perseverance. Very regular, just on the clock, on time, checking it most of the time, just to, yes. So he was very timely, but it was a tough road. He had a rough road. He had to find the truth. He had to find, where can I find the truth? And so, because it was in Chicago, he attended on a few occasions our church in Chicago. That's Our Lady Immaculate. And he started to touch some of the members, some of our people, and some of our priests. And so from there, then he was interested. And of course, he's a reader. And being a reader is very important in this time of crisis, which was very important back then. And so he would read. He would read and study to see who's got the answers. And so slowly but surely, God's grace worked with him, and he was able to find the truth through good reading and through contact with the priest of the Society of St. Pius X. And so he started that path. That path, then I think he went to the seminary first. Then they sent him to Post Falls. And so there, he was able to see the norm, see what always was, always tradition, always practice, and because he did go through some rough times, as Father Herbert termed it, the dark days, dark ages, or dark something. And so he went through the dark ages, and he came to us to be filled with the light of tradition. So we are very grateful. I was with him for 12 years. I helped him in various ways, in various ways. He was very timely. Anytime I had a question about a date, he would immediately answer. In fact, I think it was just a couple of months ago, I was talking to him on the phone, and for some reason I came up with one of my sister's weddings. So, well, it was, that date, that was 1993. Tell me the date, my sister's wedding. But I always went to him for those kind of questions. What does that mean? Give me the date. Oh, yeah, and it was actually on a Saturday. And here's the exact date. And here's what you were doing. Here's what I was doing. Whoa. And so it was great having him around. I never had to worry about dates myself. You know, just came forth and delivered the answer. So it was great being with him. I enjoyed being with him. His stability, his nobility, really. He's a Catholic priest, always regular, always doing his duty. That's what he's prized for. How many thousands of confessions did he hear? Wow. I don't know. God knows. But all the sacraments. So he's a hero, really. He's a hero for tradition, a hero for faith. And you were privileged to have him for 25 years. So, God bless you all. Nice being here. I hope to be back at the 50th. And, you know, that's if I get an invitation. God bless you all. We appreciate it.
So just a few memories. Firstly, one that I was reminded of when Father Ward was talking about the dates. There was one night when Father Cooper, about maybe a week after I arrived, in fact, I think it was the first night that I really came to settle here in Arcadia. And Father Cooper ended up needing extreme unction that night. And Father Hawker called the ambulance, and the ambulance came. So I was anointing Father Cooper. Father Cooper was prompting me with all the words for the extreme unction.
Wow.
I had to correct him and say, Father, you can't anoint yourself. You gotta let me do it. We got to the hospital, and Father Hawker and I went down to meet Father Cooper there to go into the emergency room and keep him company. And while we were there, we managed to give 2 other people extreme unction. Father Hawker did one, I did one. People we didn't know that needed sacraments. And Father Cooper was on morphine and became more and more relaxed as the evening went on. He was in a lot of pain with his broken back, so they put him on pain medication. And he started wanting to have some fun. So he just started asking Father Hawker, try with me, and it was no good. My history's no good. So he said, Father Hawker, when did such and such happen? What happened? When this battle in World War II, what was that date? And Father Hawker every time knew the date. Father Cooper was very good with history too. They must have gone on for 30 minutes. And Father Cooper would think of the most obscure point in history he could find and throw it out there, and Father Hawker would field that ball and answer. Until finally Father Cooper said, who won the World Series in 1976? And who was the MVP? And Father Hawker goes, that's not history, that's baseball. Another memory is when he came back after his open heart surgery, and he certainly suffered a lot from that. Father DeMeyer can attest to that. And he'd sit in his hand-picked large chair that we picked up for him because we knew he was going to be laid up for a while. And he'd sit there in the living room holding onto a pillow because his chest hurt so much. And he'd be in pain, and he'd be holding onto this pillow, and he'd just keep saying, God's been so good to me. God's been so good to me. That was him all the way through with the sufferings. The other thing, the last memory is just, I think, the way he would just come alive around younger priests. When Father DeMeyer, Father Julillian, myself, we were all 33 years old at the end of the time. He doubled all of us in age, if not more. And that was the priory for a while, and he would light up, and he would banter. He had enough quirks that we could tease him, and he had enough humor that we could manage it. We always considered it a good day when he'd swing at each one of us with his cane before the end of the day. If it was all 3 of us, that was a triple cane day, and that was the highlight of our year. Thank you so much for all the kindness here, and thank you, Father Burford, for caring for him, the confrere, for years now. That's a lot of work. Same thing, I saw the same kind of joy with Father Daly that I saw with Father DeMeyer back when, with Father Hawker. There was that. He loved the priesthood, and he loved to see young men stepping up and carrying on the flame.
Father? What about Father? We have a missing Father. We all want to get in on this.
Perfect.